Jack Ruby in a cabin I had. Whoever taught you to shoot a pistol like that? Where you snuck in the basement, stood in the back. Jack Ruby in a cabin I had. My first chapter called Guitar Fools. Page 1. This is a musician's tale, probably best told from the rail at the end of the bar while the band is still playing in Before Last Call. As a seeker and survivor, observer and participant, chronicler and historian, I offer stories that are gleaned from a life lived in the skull orchards and blood buckets of this fine country, and occasionally on stages that were raging with glory, blessed by the gods and masters who have guided my journey, navigating switchbacks, detours, dead ends, and glimpses of the promised land on the Blue Guitar Highway. There's a drop of blood, mine and others, behind every note I play and every word I write. Some have passed on wherever it is good people go. To those still standing but too shy to share, I've taken the liberty to tell some of their stories as well. Bob Stinson was the lead guitarist for the Replacements, one of the greatest rock and roll bands to come out of Minneapolis, a town that has always brimmed with them. While he had a reputation as a wild man at midnight, during the light of day when we got to know each other in the record shops and guitar stores in Mill City, he was like any bright-eyed, clean-cut kid in America and as innocent. Though we played different kinds of music at night, during the day we were just two guys in parallel lanes on the musician's journey, sharing the musician's task. I bumped into Bob one morning going through record bins at garage door. He had short golden blonde hair and was wearing red tennis shoes and a tattered white jacket. He asked me what I was up to. I told him I had just returned from Nashville, where I set out to record a folk record, but thought I made a great rock and roll record instead. He turned away from me, gazed east over the intersection of 26th and Nicollet while the sun was breaking through the window, folded his arms together, and with a crooked and beatific smile, like someone who knew more than the rest of us, replied, "Just goes to show you, Elvis was right all along." It was the last time I would see him alive, and in that spirit, I welcome you to my story. Now, if I had been this long on stage at one of the saloons I played over the years, by now a fight would have broken out, a beer bottle would have broken, or somebody would have already gotten kicked out, so it's a little disconcerting, but I'll get used to it. This is the story of a boy and his guitar. The boy was born during a Halloween snowstorm in 1955, the year America went from black and white to color. The same year Einstein died, Elvis had his first hit. James Dean, America's first real teenager, took his last breath in a Spider convertible at 124 miles an hour. And the bebop messiah Charlie Parker played his last 32nd note and passed away in a New York apartment after watching the Tommy Dorsey Show. Chuck Berry had just changed the name of an old country song from Ida Red to Maybelline. Woody Guthrie was in his third year at the Brooklyn State Hospital. Pete Seeger stared down Senator Joe McCarthy and the House Committee on Un-American Activities. Rosa Parks refused to sit in the back of an Alabama bus, and Allen Ginsberg read Howl for the first time at the Sixth Gallery in San Francisco. The American Federation of Labor led the Congress of Industrial Organizations, forming the Holy Union of the AFL-CIO. Elvis Presley came to Louisiana hayride, and riding the Mystery Train, hears Heartbreak Hotel for the first time, and an Arkansas dirt farmer enters Sun Studios in Memphis and records his first record under his given name of Johnny Cash. 1955 was a turning point from which America never looked back. Given his druthers, he wouldn't, or maybe couldn't, have had it any other way. He was born in Virginia, the Queen City of the Iron Range. In northern Minnesota, a stone's throw away from a kid 15 years older in the neighboring town of Hibbing. The older kid spent his formative years listening to rock and roll from faraway places and watching Marlon Brando terrorize similar small towns on the big screen on a Harley Davidson. That kid's name at the time was Bobby Zimmerman. Both boys were baptized in the grand shadow of Elvis Presley, and with the guitar as their guide, ventured out into the highways of a changing America. The older kid changed his name to Bob Dylan and became a big star. The other one kept his name and didn't. This is his story. It is an American story and will be told as one. Bright lights in big cities, Ghosts from the Farm, The Never-Ending Jukebox, Scandinavian Grandma's Lullabies, The Promise of Camelot, Elvis on the big screen and the Beatles on the small one, Hank Williams' Smoke Tavern backbeat, Stevie Wonder's harmonica, the loud pluck of electric 12-string guitars, Mama's in the basement mixing up the medicine while Dad sells insurance upstairs. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, A Christmas Present 1967, Mad Magazine, Secret Agent Television, Tom Jones and Some Woman Named Delilah, Peter Sellers on the left hand and Richard Pryor on the right, Martin Luther King Before April in Memphis, Sirhan Sirhan, Richard Speck, Vietnam, Woodstock, and then Altamont, A Man on the Moon, Charlie Manson, Surf City to Sin City, and The Kid Ain't Even Out of Junior High. A virgin no longer after Bob LeBoone's farm Strawberry Hill after his last day of 9th grade. Marijuana with its bigger and Wilder Brothers mescaline and LSD. The boy once pierced the driven snow, now drifted. Nixon still in office, majorettes, strippers, the Holy Ghost, a 59 Baby Blue Cadillac, and an electric guitar. Spiro Agnew and Barry Goldwater, Damn Everything But the Circus, and Teenage Immortality. Lenny Bruce, Ravi Shankar, 13-year-old spiritual perfect masters, Southern Comfort and Cold Snowbanks, The Velvet Flesh of Country Girlfriends, and reading Kerouac's On the Road but not yet being able to be on it. That would come soon enough. A lifetime with the guitar. Dropping in but mostly out of college and spending the past 30-some years of his life in gin joints of this blessed and imperfect country, chasing the ghost of Elvis, ass kicked, but soul somewhat intact. Everything in America is probable, if not possible, and there is beauty in the struggle. And that is part of the story, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. God helps, and so does the occasional shot of whiskey. And so it will be told in prose, street poetry, songs like Postcards from a Fading America, stolen verses from bathroom walls, called from erotic letters to old girlfriends, midnight letters to the editors, essays from the damned and for the departed, smoke signals to and from the great beyond. A particular version and vision of America, a story that goes from black and white to color. He got to meet most of his heroes, got a letter from the White House, spent a few days in the big house, and got to spend time with everyone from Pete Seeger to Dave Snaker Ray, J.J. Cale to Joey Ramone, John Hartford to Hubert Sumlin, from Bruce Springsteen to Betty LaBette. Played guitar for Ken Kesey, smoked left-handed cigarettes with Willie Nelson, but who hasn't? Watched the sun come up with Silver Saints and Hellbound Sinners, moved to the big city, and heard Andre Segovia, Bill Monroe, and Dexter Gordon before he had the chance to unpack his bags. Got cat whisker close to a big-time record deal courtesy of the legendary John Hammond Sr. Debuted the song Jack Ruby to 20,000 Texans just 5 miles from Dealey Plaza. Too young to meet Woody Guthrie, but got invited to play his tribute at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Put out a dozen or so releases on his own label, all of which have gone linoleum. Has given away more records than he has sold, and has played more than 5,000 gigs, many of which he remembers. And tonight he'll take his guitar and do another gig, and will play for some who will listen and some who won't, but that is not the point. The point is that he is 55 years old, too old to either lie about his age or join the FBI, and is still making a living with his guitar. And like he says, the beauty of obscurity is you never go out of style. 35, set up shop in Dallas, he had nothing to hide. A nightclub with hookers and cops side by side. Jack Ruby, when you were 35. 14 years later when you were 49, from the Carousel Club, you kept the judges in line. J. Edgar Hoover said there's no organized crime. Jack Ruby, when you were 49. Jack Ruby in a cab.